Hi, I am ThatPaulGuy, and it's Thursday. Thursday, August 29th, 2019, and we're going to start off with some space news. The United States Air Force has set a record. Well, okay, more like their secret space plane, the X-37B, the unmanned space plane that's been in orbit for now going on 721 days as of today. It set a record. It's 4 days longer than the longest space flight before, which was 717 days. It actually set the record a couple of days ago. The difference between this and, say, a satellite is this is something that's supposed to come back down to Earth, be reusable, can be launched again, and stuff like that. So it is it maintains a record for a space flight because it is something that can be reused. So 721 days and counting, that's almost 2 full years. So that's pretty impressive in itself. Not to be outdone, the Russians have launched and have docked and have carried an automaton, a robot, up to the space station. Speaking of things that are going to be up there for a while but should be returned. I don't know if this is going to come back down to Earth or if they're going to leave it up there on the space station. It's supposed to help with mundane tasks, see how things like that operate in zero-G and microgravity and things, and see what kind of workloads that an autonomous type figure or human or whatever could undertake. So the robot age has begun. Don't worry about trying to create your science fiction horror stories yet, because it took twice to dock with the space station. So, you know, I don't know if that was on automatic or if the robot was actually controlling things, but, you know, it didn't, we'll have to see. But it wasn't too successful in the first attempt. Anyway, it's up there now, so we'll have to see how it goes. I'm sure there'll be more on this story later. SpaceX is back in the news again. Their Starhopper, which is their prototype that has the engine that will eventually go on the Starliner that will take man to Mars. The Starhopper completed its second and final test in Texas. It is a 150-meter test where it launches, it moves 150 meters downrange, and it lands. Now, SpaceX has gotten pretty good at launching and landing rockets and stuff like that, but this is one of the most powerful rockets there are. And it, like I said, it will eventually go on the Starliner, which will take, or the Starship, which will take man to Mars. So it's a pretty big deal for SpaceX, and now it's on to the big leagues. So congrats to Elon Musk and SpaceX and all the folks there, especially in Texas where this was going on. In tech news, no Spidey, no problem. Disney says about their new Disney Plus that's going to be launching, I believe it's going to be September 2nd. Sony, we talked about it a little bit last week. Sony has pulled out of the deal with the Marvel Universe owned by Disney, the Marvel Studios, Marvel, you know, whatever. They've pulled out of that and they want to do things on their own. Well, that's okay, because Disney Plus is going to be launching, and they've got things from the Marvel Universe. They've got TV shows and movies from not only that, but the Star Wars universe, and of course all the Disney movies and Disney specials and stuff like that. So they got a full slate of entertainment that's going to be coming your way for about $7 a month. If you get a yearly package, it's about $70 a month. And if you're a former member of D23, which was their fan club, you can help crash the server. I mean, you can get 3 years for $141, but I think that deal is only good through Labor Day. When they first announced this, it did crash the servers. The servers are back up. Everything's fine. But pretty good deal from Disney. They want everybody to join their side of the party. So that's going on there. And like I said, through September 2nd, I believe it is, if you're an old D23 member, you can get the special 3-year deal. Otherwise, you know, it might be worth getting a year at a time. So, and $7 a month is still cheaper than Netflix. And that's where all your superhero movies are going. So we'll see. Apple has announced their new Apple credit card will get dirty and smudged if it's left in a leather wallet. Just like all the rest of your credit cards that get left in a wallet or a billfold or something like that. Apple says it will not maintain its pristine figure or its pristine appearance if it's left in a leather wallet, and it will get smudged. So they recommend wrapping it in cloth or something like that. What I would recommend is that you just keep it on your iPhone like it was originally intended and use it that way. But I mean, you can, you know, get your plastic copy of the Apple credit card if you're an Apple user and you get approved for it, and that's where things go there. But don't expect it to stay pristine unless you keep it in a glass case somewhere, maybe on your mantle. You can do that. Yeah, you can do that. T-Mobile, however, is doing things a little bit differently. They're doing something very uncarrier-like again. They want you to go buy T-Mobile, and I'm not sure if this has already started yet or about to start, But I know in some areas they're talking about letting you go and get a T-Mobile mobile hotspot. Now this is good on their data network, or on their data. They want to be able to prove how good their network is. And so for 30 days or 30 gig, they're letting you try their network out completely for free. So you'll be able to get a hotspot. They'll take your stuff like your name, your address, your email address. They will not ask for a credit card. They will not run a credit check. They're going to allow you to take this hotspot. It's good for 30 days or 30 gig. Then it shuts off, and you can do one of a couple of things. You can take it back to T-Mobile. You can give it to a friend who can then request a new SIM card so they can try it for 30 days, or you can simply keep it. I believe they said it's going to cost around $70 per unit. They're thinking most people are going to share it or take it back. But if you do decide to keep it, it's just a brick. It's just a paperweight. It's not going to do you any good. So the thought process there is they hope that people will not only use it and like the service and sign up, but they will give it to their friend, have their friend request a SIM card. They try the service and so on. And so there you go. But T-Mobile, congrats. I mean, that's good. I mean, they really trying to make sure they get out there and say, hey, look, don't forget about us type thing, especially with the merger thing going on. So don't know how this is going to affect Sprint customers, but we do know that you should be able to go buy a T-Mobile store. In gaming news, pictures have surfaced of the PlayStation 5 development kit, codenamed Butt Ugly. Okay, that's not really its code name. But if you've seen this thing, it is kind of butt ugly. I don't know what its actual code name is, but they have had some pictures surface. And if I'm not already posting a picture of it, then I will go ahead and leave a link to it. I might throw a picture up here. I don't know yet. But it's rather odd looking. So, I mean, I'll put a link or something so you guys can let me know whether you'd put it right next to your nice 4K television or not. But yeah, that's one of those that kind of make you go, what is that supposed to do? Not clear from the pictures if it does have an optical drive. It looks like it might, but if that is an optical drive on the front, that's a pretty big unit. So we're again talking about something that's big and awkward. Awkward's a good word for that. That's what it is. Awkward. There's a new 48-minute video that's a walkthrough for Cyberpunk 2077 out on YouTube now. This is going to be coming out in April. We've talked about this game a little bit before. It's starring Keanu Reeves for one. It is more of a mature type RPG. So that means there is violence, there is some sexual situations, that type of thing. The game, the walkthrough and everything looks outstanding. It's 48 minutes long. It does show gameplay. It does have a narration of how things work, how to set things up and all that to get everybody exposed to it. They're really, really trying hard to make sure that the word gets out about this game, that people see this game and that people are interested in buying it. So you got to give it to them. They're going all out to try to make sure they expose everybody. They don't want a disaster on their hands where one, it's a great game and nobody knows about it, or two, that they talk it up and they can't prove anything. So they're taking some pretty good steps, it looks like, to try to prove the product they have and show everybody what it is. And it really does, it really, really does look good. But do keep in mind, it is for a mature type audience. And, you have to keep that in mind when you go to watch the video. So there's going to be some violence and, like I said, some sexual type situations. And finally, PlayStation has announced the games that will be available for PlayStation Plus in September. I told you guys a couple weeks back, or actually a couple months ago, that if there was any decent games for PlayStation Plus or Xbox Live Gold when they came out, that I would let you know about them so you could download them or look for them. PlayStation's got a couple of them. Xbox hadn't announced theirs yet. So PlayStation is going to have Batman Arkham Knight and Darksiders 3, both of which are decent games, were popular AAA titles, and so probably worthy of your download. And like I said, Xbox will announce theirs tomorrow, so I have no idea at the time of doing this what they might be, so we're just going to have to wait and find out together. And actually, finally, I do have a very, very sad note. Those folks that were in the maker community or the racing community or just were a fan of things like Mythbusters and people that like to achieve fast speeds and all are going to miss Jessie Combs. She passed away the other day trying to set a land speed record for the fastest female on Earth. I believe she did set the record, but unfortunately there were complications. There was a crash and she ended up passing away. So to all the fans out there, I share your pain, and I wish her family, her friends, and loved ones well. And I know it's got to be rough, and I know how much that people like me are going to miss her. I can only imagine how it's going to be losing her. But thank you, Jessie, for becoming the fastest woman on Earth and giving all of us something to kind of be inspired by. That's it for me this week, folks. So I mean, thumbs up, thumbs down. Leave me any kind of comments, especially on the PlayStation stuff or the dev kit or whatever. And feel free to subscribe, share. That little bell icon is going to tell you when I'm doing more of these videos. But until next time, folks, that's all I got. So I'll see you later.